beautiful? It's lovely to see you out here. It's nice to be out here. It's a beautiful kind of day. Let me show you the sky, because the sky is the best thing. Look, it's massive. You know, it's not bright blue because there is this layer of fine cloud just over all of it. I call this a big sky. It's always a big sky, but, you know, it's just so beautiful. It's so fine. And I don't know if you can see or not, but there is actually a faint halo around the sun. Morning, Andrea! You might be able to see, yeah, there's a good portion of the curve there. It's when you have a layer of high cloud or ice crystals, you can see that kind of a solar arc. Oh, there it is. It's more obvious on this side. So it's just beautiful this morning. And here we go. This is right up above us now. It's just beautiful. Good morning, everybody. Facebook hasn't told me who you are yet, but it's lovely to see you. And just wander around the garden to show you our autumn, our fall, depending on which word you use. You know, there's still leaves on everything, but they're starting to turn. And shine has that beautiful sideways quality, which is so good for photography. Not that I get to do that much at the moment. And I love how the ginkgo tree leaves. Look, Sunshia, good morning, lovely. I love how things turn. Jill, Magda, it's beautiful to see you both. Welcome, welcome. Let's enjoy the he-bees. Oh, there's a little bee there. We no longer take bees for granted, do we? Since the Varroa mite, and now they're under somewhat greater threat because of pesticides and things. So I appreciate the insects very much. They're kind of essential to the planet and us. So yeah, here's the day, and it's just very quiet, and I'm enjoying sharing that with you. So welcome aboard, everybody. This is the day. There's a little bird flying across there. And here I am with my hat on because, you know, the sun's beautiful, but when it gets in your eye, it's kind of distracting. So I was kind of scratching my head for a topic today. And, well, on Friday, I beg your pardon, I was scratching my head for today's topic on Friday. And to cut a long story short, I saw a photograph of somebody, and there was like two messages coming out of that photograph. One of them was, I'm spiritual, I'm successful, I've got answers, I'm, you know, the person that you want to see and talk to, and I can help you with your stuff. Hi Wendy, great to see you. And the other one was this massive sense of incoherence, which I get from everything. I don't mean I get incoherence from everything, I mean I get the kind of energy reading about everyone and everything from everything. That's just being me. And it was like this dual message was so powerful. It was like I had a bit of a reaction to it. I was like, oh my God, you feel this? You feel, I think, what I feel you feel, and you're saying that. And there was this massive, huge, you know, like cavernous gap between the intended communication and the energetic being that I sensed. Hi Heather, I can see your little dot up the top. It's great to see you. I can see a lot of you up there, but Facebook doesn't tell me who you are. And so, you know, and I think you have to do something. I don't know. You have to hit a like or. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying, if you want me to greet you, you got to do that, because otherwise I don't know who you are. Doesn't matter. It's just sometimes I think, who are those lovely people? So I was astonished by the gap that I saw. And I thought, oh, that's a topic. Because we all of us have some kind of gap. Julian, good morning. We all of us have some kind of gap between who we feel we are inside, between our internal experience of being, our this is who I really am, and what we present to the outside world. Some of us, the gap is very small. Some of us just have learned not to give a wet fucking slap. Because it takes so much energy to maintain that gap, to suppress the feeling of, Katerina, Maria, good morning, beautifuls. It takes an enormous amount of energy to hide from ourselves the fact that there is something we're feeling about who we are, and it doesn't match who we're showing up as. That takes a lot of energy. And we all have it to some degree or another. But it's exhausting. And so I want to unpack that a bit. Because the thing is, remember I said this last week, and this is Joe Dispenza gem, because it's so true. How you think and how you act and how you feel, that's your state of being, and that's your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. That's how it works. And many people try to create a new personal reality, but they stay the same person. They keep on thinking and doing and being the same person, and they somehow expect something different to happen. And it doesn't work. It's not possible. If you want to create a different life, you literally have to become somebody else. I know I said that last week. So this is the gap, right? Because we're thinking and acting and feeling a certain way, and we see something in our lives or something outside of us that we want, and you think, well, how can I get from where I am, this state of consciousness and this way of being, to where I want to be? And if you're like me, for many, many years, you didn't realise that your personality is creating your personal reality, and I had no idea that I needed to change who I was. And so I kept hoping for something to change outside of me to make me feel different, and of course it didn't. So that's the gap, we think, you imagine yourself successful, you imagine yourself healed, you imagine yourself abundant or whatever it is, and you think, oh yeah, that's a really cool thing, I love that idea, that excites me, and that's really good, because now you have a vision for the future. But then, when you've finished doing the vision board, or you've come out of your meditation or your visualization exercise, and I don't really like to visualize, I prefer to sense things, to feel things, to connect with things. Visualizing? Are you kidding? Just using my eyes, my internal vision? No, I want to put myself there. And I can do that because I've practiced, I've got better at that, and that's really cool. And then I come back to my three-dimensional world of the senses and my life and my responsibilities and the things I need to get done and the lack of time I have and the things I'm seeing piling up around me that I haven't been able to do because I've been in such deep change processes that the energy has been like, no, you need to do this. You need to recreate yourself. You're going to have to let that stuff go. And the old fear, which I've been quietly not seeing, not so much ignoring, because I've never been able to ignore it. Once the fear or the pain or the whatever becomes conscious to me, I have never been able to stuff it down and ignore it. Some people are able to do that, be it good, bad or indifferent. I'm not one of them. So once I become conscious of something, I have to deal with it, I have to move through it, I have to change it, period. Robbie, it's great to see you. But that's me. But there are lots of us who, for many reasons, and survival is the key one, underneath it all, we need to survive, whatever it is. We just do what we have to do to survive, to keep on doing what we know works. We may not like it, but, at least I... And that means ignoring the kind of bubbling ferment of whatever feelings we've got that we're not addressing. And, many of them are completely unconscious. but some of them are subconscious, and we feel the pain or the fear or the discomfort when you think about something like, I know I've said this, but I'll use it as an example because for me it's a good one. Thinking about, I've got to log into my internet banking and do some stuff, and immediately feeling my gut tighten. I've been doing that for decades. I don't know how long I've been just feeling fear as soon as I think about spending money. Or receiving it, I realised recently. It's like the whole thing was just whatever. I really became conscious of this thing that had been unconscious in me for so long. And it was a gap because here I am practicing really since August last year. I got really determined. I'm going to become abundant. I'm going to become abundance itself. In time, I'm going to become abundance itself. What's that? Hell, I don't know. But let me practice, let me explore, let me try. That was August last year. So this is an ongoing thing. And this fear that would come up in me, the gap, right? To start with, I wasn't even aware of it. It was just who I thought I was. Just normal. It's just normal that going to my bank account is somehow stressful and I haven't even noticed that it is. There's a gap. And so I keep practicing feeling abundant. And I notice the gap. And this is the process. We actually have to be willing to notice the gap so that we can then start to move through it. We can start to bridge the gap. We can start to say, oh my God, here I am practicing moving into being abundance itself, which is a really lovely thing. Just being able to practice it, the contrast between you when you're there and you when you're not can be really sharp, but at least you know now. And I'm practicing this, and then, oh my God, I go and do this thing and slam. Suddenly you really notice your fear, or you really notice your anger, or you really notice your despair, or you really notice your pain, or you really notice your grief or your sorrow, whatever it is, you really notice it, and now you are so aware of the gap. And as painful as that is sometimes, and oh my God, it can be really intense, you have moved forward. You have made progress because now you have more truth about yourself, and you now know something about the you that you don't want to be anymore. Norma Jane, it's lovely to see you. You now know who you don't want to be like that anymore, and so more specifically, more truthfully, if you like, you can decide, okay, in relation to that, now that I'm clear that this is who I've been being for so long, how am I going to reinvent myself? And it is a continuous process, you're right. And having gratitude, yeah, totally. It's like, oh my God, I recognise that. Oh, that was intense, and ow, it hurts, but thank you, because now I can move through it. And honestly, I do feel that. It may not be nice, real change. We've got to see the gap. We've got to get real with ourselves. The thing that I definitely do differently to how I used to do it is once I've recognised some part of me, like this response, oh my God, every time I sit down to log in to my bank account, doesn't matter how much is in it or not, whatever, I feel fear. That just becomes, it's like, okay, this is really here. Now I have more truth about myself. Whew. This is really deep. This is a program. But I don't need to go into analysis paralysis about how it got like that. I really don't. I do idly wonder, sometimes it's useful, and then, when did I ever feel good about money? Did I ever feel good? And I was wondering about that over the weekend, and I realised that when I was small, at least before 10, we used to go to art classes on Saturday mornings, and we would have pocket money to go to the dairy and buy 10 cents of mixed lollies. That was what we did, And that was nice, and I remember feeling like I have 10 cents, I get my lollies, it's all good. Because that was my sole experience with money. It's just, it arrives, and off you go. I still remember the little white paper bags, things you remember. But I don't know how long it was before that changed, but it wasn't very long. And I think I just absorbed my parents' attitudes because, of course, they had both come through the Great Depression after the Second World War. And there was all this survival mentality tied up with how you spend money and what you don't spend it on and how necessary something has to be before you spend anything. So I just picked up a whole lot of stuff. So, I can analyse it and say, I probably just picked up all that fear and, we don't have enough, and so if I think something has to be really, really necessary before we spend anything, and you can never have anything nice without sacrificing something else, and everything essential has to be taken care of before you can even think about having any fun. And I can understand that, because, these are all things I sort of worked out. And it still doesn't really help me bridge the gap. I really understand my lack. It didn't help me make any changes. The insight doesn't help. This is the thing that is a real bolt out of the blue the first time you realise it, that analysing why you feel the way you feel is not going to help you move through it. I feel like this because somebody abused me or somebody betrayed me or there was an accident and I got hurt. You understand. And now that you understand the reason why you feel the way you feel, does it heal the problem? No, it doesn't. Only you can do that. And the way to do that is to decide who you're going to be instead, which is very counterintuitive because we all think, but I need to feel, my body needs to heal, and then I'm going to be grateful and excited and happy because I feel better. Avia, lovely to see you. I need to get money in my bank account and then I'm going to feel abundant. Because, then I will be abundant. But I told you last week, I think it was, I realised, and it didn't matter to me how much money there was in my bank account or not. If I'd just been paid, it's not enough. If I was just spending some, it means there's not enough left. It was just not enough. And I had this realisation, it doesn't matter how much there'll be there. There could be $1 million in there and I would still feel like there was not enough. The not enoughness has got nothing to do with how much money is in my bank account. It's to do with me. I just believe there's never enough of anything. And so I've been dancing a real tango with my not enoughness in the last little while. It's been really interesting. Let me tell you. I got to show you a flower. I just spotted it. So let me turn the camera around. Here we go. We got some late cassia flower. It's a little bit dented, but it's beautiful and it's bright and it's yellow. I wanted you to see it. And while we're here, something I've been forgetting to show you is the camellia, which is, doing its autumn flowering. So there it is. So, you do get the insight as you're moving through things. But the insight does not set you free. Working out, deciding, choosing, beginning to embody, practicing the feelings and the thoughts and the behaviours of that person who was on the other side of the gap. That is how you set yourself free. And it's counterintuitive, but I know because I've done it for long enough now that it's the only thing that actually works. And if you quote the story of your favourite hero who's, overcome adversity and they're rich or, whatever, or they got out of prison after 20 years or, whatever the story is that inspires you, you think, oh, well, they were happy after they overcame. But always, if you read their story or watch their story with a different kind of understanding, you start to recognise that just before, or sometime before, sometimes there's a delay for whatever reason, sometime before things shifted, they became a different person. It could be an instant, it could be years. It's like Nelson Mandela, I'm just reminded, he'd been in jail for 10 years, thinking, I can't get out of this place. I'm never going to get out of this place. It's impossible to get out of this place. And then one day this thought just landed. I think he wrote, my heart spoke to me. And suddenly he asked himself the question, what if I could get out of this place? And he started writing letters and, and then down the track, and I'm really condensing, this is just a little bit that I've heard Joe explain, because Nelson Mandela is one of Joe's heroes. And then he said, down the track, who's going to lead this country? Because, apartheid was changing, they needed a new government. And his heart spoke to him again and said, well, what if I could lead this country? And then, of course, he had to ask the question, who would I need to be to lead this country? Do you see? What if I can X, Y, Z? Who would I need to be to do that, to be that, to have that, to think that, to feel that, to embody that? That's how you bridge the gap. You get real. You acknowledge the unconscious and subconscious and difficult to see things. You've got to shine a light in a dark place to see who you've really been being. You've got to be willing to see that, which usually means acknowledging your pain somewhere or otherwise. It means getting real. Doesn't mean analysis paralysis. But as the truth comes to you, and it always will, the only thing you really need to do then is decide, who do I want to be now? And how would I think? How would I feel? And what would I do? And expect that to be a journey to explore and uncover and practice and practice and practice. That's what we're about. That's how it works. It's how it works for me. It's the only way it's ever worked for me. Anything else just didn't work. So here again is the beautiful sky. It's just covered with a layer of cloud today. The wind is pretty much from the west, which is quite unusual. But you can see there's the line of the clouds there, and then barely, but the line of the clouds there, and they all point in this direction. So that's where the wind is coming from. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Your Sunday, my Monday, maybe your Monday too, depending on where you are. Big love. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.